Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Golden Talks. And today we have a special edition because Golden Talks is gonna be in English and with one of the most amazing guys from the Oracle world. You know who is? Yeah, we're gonna talk with this guy. Can you imagine that? I was talking these days thinking, oh my god, can you believe that Golden Talks now will have guys like the one that we're gonna have today? And I have some questions for you to see if you are aware of some points. For instance, do you know that he born in Mexico City and that he already worked with mainframe? And one more thing, he already teached Fortran. Can you imagine that? Very nice. And also, he had a boss that once said, "You are so good that I'm not gonna let you go to the other country to work in the company in other country. You're gonna stay here with me." This is very nice. And the last thing is that he started to work with EBS before he entered in the journey of DBA world and started his performance issues. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm seeing people here talking in Portuguese and some others in English, so I'm gonna talk short in Portuguese. Boa noite, galera. Beleza? Vamos comigo, me ajudem aí. Hoje eu tô bem nervoso, mas vamos lá. So, I was saying that I'm kind of nervous because it's like uh, today it's like being the first time on Golden Talks because we have a very special guest here. So I would like to uh, say a very good night to everyone, or good afternoon, or wherever you are in the world. Good morning, too. Okay, and so this is the time, guys. So let's start, and I have a pleasure to say that in Golden Talks today we have here Carlos Sierra. Hello, Carlos. How are you?
Good, thank you. And yourself? Hello, everyone.
Yeah, we are very happy to have you here, Carlos. That's very nice opportunity to know more about you and all the amazing things that you have done for the Oracle community. And thank you very much to accept the invite and come to talk with us today.
Well, thanks for having me here.
All right. So I said some tips for guys when I started here, and let's start our talk from the beginning. So, can you tell us a little bit how started your journey on compute, on IT, and how this happened from the beginning?
Yeah, of course. I mean, first, I will have to say here that I started working with computers way too many years ago. I'm pretty sure many of you guys haven't been born yet, right? So I started working with computers, I would say that was the year 1977. And that is when I went to college. I started college when I was 16. I went early to college. So when I started college, there was no engineering in computers. No, there was no computer engineering, no computer science at my. I studied at like in the largest university in Mexico, and those careers they wouldn't even exist. So when I started as a civil engineering, and then I mean as I did my first semester of civil engineering, I learned about this professor that was really good for math, and I was really into my school. So I decided to get this class with him. I mean, his name was quite unusual. It was Mr. Olguin, and that last name is unusual. So I learned the name, and I said, you know what? If I see that name, I'm going to sign in for his class. And I did sign in for his class, and then I was really surprised that it wasn't the content that I was expecting. I mean, soon after I started my class, we started learning Fortran and say, okay, why do I need Fortran? What is this about, right? And in those days, there was no internet, there was no email, there was no terminals, there was no monitors. So we had to punch cards. So we had to do all our homework, I mean, punching cards and getting those cards to go through some card readers and get some programs running and stuff like that. And to me, it was like, okay, let me explore why that we need to do this if this is supposed to be a math class. Then I figured out I signed up for the incorrect class. But it was by accident that my first encounter with a computer, it was just accident. It was like an advanced class in which they were teaching some stuff which was kind of unusual, different, interesting. I mean, there were no computers. I mean, it's like a computer were just at the beginning, right? I mean, in terms of something that you don't get to see like today. Today, everyone has a computer. But back then, only like large companies or the government, they would have a computer. So to me, it was a little bit unusual. I had two options. Either I would drop the class or I would actually do my best effort to get a good evaluation at the end of the class. And I did that, and at the end I was happy. I learned a lot. To me, it was like, I don't care about this because as a civil engineer, I'm not expecting to use anything of this, right? So it was like a way too ahead of my time. But then I got a job offer from this guy. Say, you want to come and work for me on the computer center at the university? And my first reaction was say, no, I don't want that job. I don't want that job. And he said, why? I say, well, because I'm very happy with my current job, which I was doing something that's totally unrelated. I was working at the factory. So he said, well, I can pay you the same money that you're making over there. You come here and you are close to the university and you don't have to move from one place to another. Basically, he convinced me to stay, to work for him. And then once I started working for him, that is when I would say I fell in love with computers. It was to me like so many things you can do with a computer, even back then, even when you're punching cards, there are so many things you can do. So I got to learn Fortran really well. And then I started teaching Fortran at university. It wasn't my main duty, but I used to basically do my part of my job was to do like knowledge sharing or knowledge transfer. So I was an instructor, Fortran instructor, and Fortran, it was like very cool language. Even today, the other day I was looking at my thesis, and it's written in Fortran, and I can still understand Fortran after so many years. It's like it stays there. So that was the first language. From back then, I never imagined that I will continue working with computers the rest of my life.
Oops, I was on mute here. Sorry, guys. Okay, so this is the start of this journey with computers and with IT. And meanwhile, you are explaining this to us. We had a comment here from Rodrigo Riguet, and he say, I think he told me the first computer he worked was called, oh my God, how can I say this in English? ENIAC, I think. This is in English.
No, not that far. It was an IBM 1130. So you still look for that IBM 1130. I'm pretty sure you will find that. That was one of the first computers I used. And I remember this computer, it was on a cold room, and it was like 8K of memory. That was the total memory was 8K. I remember that piece. And it was like that. There was an operator, and it was like a enclosed room, and there was no access, like a dark room. It was kind of interesting, and all the interface was through a card reader. So you give the card to someone, and then the next day that person would have processed your cards, and if you didn't have any typo, and you don't have any bugs or any, if everything was perfect, you may be able to see whatever you're trying to execute the next day. So that means the turnaround to compile a program, it was the very minimum, it was 1 day. But if you have one typo, well, that adds 1 day. So every typo is 1 extra day. So it was different. I would say it was totally different what we have today.
All right, that's very good. So this Nicolas Cage appeared here. Let me see how can I take off here. Okay, we are trying, Carlos said, to let you know some different things here with GoldenTalks, some memes we are gonna introduce during the talk, and we are still learning with that. Okay, so
Okay.
if you make some mistakes, sorry about that. Okay, and,
Don't worry.
Oh, one more thing, I can see that there are some more guys doing some comments here, and Marcelo Tomas said here, "Thank you, Carlos Sierra, COE, saved me a lot of times." I can say the same.
Oh
Thank you for
yeah,
that.
no, no problem. This COE, it was a family of scripts. The most significant one, it was I would say it was COE explain was one of them, and the other one is COE transfer SQL profile. Those are the ones which I know. I mean, people use the longest. COE explain and then COE transfer SQL profile. So most
Yeah.
probably when I hear someone that it saved the day, it most probably was COE transfer SQL profile, which still people use today. I mean, even recently, if someone was pinging me if I can provide the latest version of this script, right? And I do. I mean, I have the latest version of the script, even though today, I mean, we have replaced all these scripts with like the super new versions, which I mean, they're not called COE anymore. So they have a different acronym these days. But yeah, I mean, that was kind of the beginning. I mean, doing stuff like how do we copy an execution plan from one environment to another, right? That was typical the issue that we had in hand. It's like a typical case is like, oh, we have this execution plan that is fine here, but in this other environment, we have a bad plan. How do we fix it? Well, it's easy to transfer the execution plan from one environment to another, and then like magic, I mean, your performance is back to normal. So yeah, the only thing I would say is whenever you're using tools like this, just be careful, because this is like any drug. You become an addict. So you become an addict. So once you start hammering plans, you want to do that every day, right? You want to see, I mean, how do I get the perfect performance? And it's dangerous, because I mean now you are not letting the cost-based optimizer do its job, and you're trying to do better, right? So that is my only advice. Just be careful not to overuse the script.
All right. And you got so addicted that you did many tools to reuse. That's
Oh
great.
yeah. Well, I have to confess here a few things. I I I have really bad memory, right? So I can see. Well, first, when people say, "Oh, you're a DBA," I have to say, "Well, I'm not really a DBA. I don't see myself as a DBA. If I had to put a label of what is that I do, I would say I'm more like a database developer, which is a weird name, but it's like a database developer, because my thing is to write tools and write the scripts. And the reason I do this is like, if you ask me, I mean, just to, I don't know, to extend a table space, I don't know the command. I know pretty much the shape of the command. I know I have used that before many times, but I don't memorize anything. I don't memorize. So I have to write my scripts and my tools. So whenever I have to do something, I just run my script, right? So I don't have to be remembering the special syntax and the command, and is this $B SQL or is $B something else? I don't have to memorize anything. I just put together everything I need on the scripts. And the most I have to kind of memorize is like, where do I find them, right? If I know the topic is there, I know I have done something about it, I am pretty sure I have a script, and then I find my script and I just run my script. So I rather invest the time to look for the commands and the syntax and stuff one time and then reuse many times. Well, COE is just a small script. I would say the largest tool is SQL. SQL to me, I would say years. I mean, it was not like one shot. I mean, the first version, I had to spend all my free time. I had to I had like 1 month vacation time, and I had to spend that just to write, I would say, the kernel of SQL, the core functionality of SQL. Just keep in mind that SQL, when I left SQL to behind, I mean, when I passed it to the next guy, it was like over 100,000 lines of code. And even today, I just type with these 2 fingers, right? So can you imagine just typing 100,000 lines of code with 2 fingers? How long does that take? it takes years. It takes years. So it's funny because when my daughter sees me typing, it's like, Dad, why are you typing only with 2 fingers? Well, that is what I learned, right? So there is no excuse to write code. Even if you're using 2 fingers, you can still write code, right? So, and I remember one day I was doing a conference and people asked me, okay, how big is your team? I say, what do you mean by my team? Yeah, how many people are helping you to write this tool? And I just showed them my helpers, right? These 2 guys. This is all it takes, to write a tool.
All right, so you not use all the fingers, just 2 fingers to do all.
Well, to be honest, now I use more like this. But mostly I will say this is the main one, the main guy, right? And then I sometimes I use these other guys.
Right,
Yeah.
good. And one more thing, we have, but first, very nice, all of these. And we have a comment here from Marcos Vinicius, and he is saying that unfortunately, when he went to Enkitech, you already lived there.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I stayed in Enkitech for quite some time, but like everything comes to a point in which you have to move forward, right? So you spend some time here, and then you have to see what is the next step. And in those days, when I was in Enkitech, I was extremely happy. Even with some acquisition that we have from Accenture, my manager. And when I met him, he called me one day out of the blue. He called me and he introduced himself, and he said, well, I hear that you moved to Seattle. So I was living in Orlando, Florida, and then I moved to Seattle, Washington. So he said, okay, I know you are here in Seattle. Let's have some lunch together. And we had lunch. It was really nice. He is managing this group inside OCI. And I was working for Enkitech, but he knew about me, right? So we got together, we met, we had lunch, we had a good time. And then out of the blue, he asked me, would you like to come to work for OCI, right? And I said, no, thanks, but no thanks. I'm really happy working for Enkitech. They treat me well. Thanks, but no thanks. And then he asked me, would you mind coming one day at the office and just talk to the guys at the office, just meet the guys? And I said, sure, why not? So I went there and I met the people, and I was a little bit suspicious because I noticed it was pretty well structured. So I noticed instead of meeting the guys like we're doing today, we're talking, a lot of people here, and I know there is some, like a group, right? It was more like one-on-one. So I say, I was meeting with this guy for 1 hour, then he would leave the office and another guy would come for another hour. And then another guy, it was like 6 guys in 1 hour, right? To me, like, I was not expecting this. I was expecting to meet the guys, but I was not expecting on these orderly sequential things, right? I was too naive, I would say. And after the meeting, I went home and everything was fine. And then JJ, his name is JJ, my manager, he called me and said, how do you like the team? I said, well, it was fun, whatever, right? It was fun. And he said, well, we're gonna make you an offer. I say, well, I was not expecting that, right? I was not expecting an offer, right? So say, well, I'm not really looking. So thank you, I appreciate your offer, but no, thank you. He said, well, why not? I said, well, to be honest, they're treating me well. It's very hard for me to leave behind what I have already, created, or, you're basically grooming. You have this situation, this job that you think is perfect, right? And you think that there is no way they can make you an offer that you can say no, right? And then this offer came, and it was really good. And it was like, I was not expecting such a good offer, right? So it was like, I like the guys, I like the offer, I like everything. So it's like, well, maybe it's time to move on, right? Maybe it's time to move on. So I accepted the offer, and I had to leave Enkitech. So to me, it wasn't easy. To me, if I look back, Enkitech has been, in terms of dynamics, in terms of learning, in terms of people, I think that has been, I would say, maybe the best place I have worked for. It's hard because now today at OCI, I also enjoy very much what I do, right? So it's very hard, but it was, Enkitech was one of those jobs it was really, really hard to let go. So that is my story with Enkitech.
All right, good. And we already went almost to the end of the story, but we will start to go back from the beginning.
No
Don't
problem.
confuse us. But that's good. That's good. And but still talking about learning and things like this, we have here a question from Leonardo Ciccone. He is asking this, and Carlos, you are amazing. What's your strategy to learn new things? This I want to know too.
The strategy to learn new things.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a very good question because we all humans, we tend to stay within our comfort zone, right? So back in the days, I mean, after I went through for Fortran and I learned some of the languages, I did a lot of COBOL. So I was a COBOL developer. So after you go from different tools, I did a lot of basic. Actually, I had one of the first Apple computers in Mexico. I smuggled that computer into Mexico. It was because it was kind of it was not permitted to bring a computer. It's kind of mentality, right? So it was kind of dumb. So I had to get a computer like if it was a typewriter. I told the guys it was a typewriter. I don't know if you remember the Apple II, the Apple II computer. The Apple II, if you look at the frame of the Apple II, it looks like a typewriter. So I got one of those computers in Mexico. Actually, it was one of the first. Apple didn't exist in Mexico back then. So I went to the US, got this computer. I got the money from my friends. I mean, we all pitched in. This computer cost like the equivalent to a car. So in those days, it was like $7,000, that computer. It was an Apple II. So we got that computer. So we learned a lot. It's like, we have this computer now. What is that we can do with this computer? So we develop applications in BASIC, and we sold those applications to small companies. Everything has been like a learning experience, right? So of course, when you are younger, you get to learn a lot. I mean, just by very fast. As you get older, you become slower, right? And that is normal. But I would say one of the moments to me that was crucial is when I left behind the mainframes. I remember, I mean, that year, it was a 95, year 95. So I married my wife, which is my second wife. I married her and I moved. I mean, I was living in Venezuela back then. After going to Puerto Rico, living different places, she moved to Orlando, and then I moved with her. So I started in Orlando. And to me, that year, 95, like, I mean, I'm starting a new relationship. I was starting my relationship with my wife, and I already had 2 children. She already had 2 children. So I had this new relationship with 2 extra kids. And then I was in this country, which was not my country, right? I was born in Mexico. My main speaking language is Spanish. So suddenly I am in the US, right? And I was so used to work with mainframes, which my first reaction was to look for a job with mainframes. And actually, I landed I got a contract. I mean, in front of me for this consulting company working with mainframes, and were very well paid, really very well paid. And my wife just said, no, you're not taking that job. I said, why not? And she said, well, that means you will be traveling every week, and I won't get to see you. Who's gonna take care of the 4 children, right? I had assumed she was gonna take care of them, right? But she's working full time. She works for Oracle as well. So she and even today she works for Oracle. So she said, no, you're not taking that job. I said, well, what do I do? What do I do? This is what I know, right? That's mainframe. That is my space. Well, the Oracle is looking for people, and say, well, I don't know anything about Oracle. I don't know anything about Oracle.
And in this time, you were in the US, and you went there with your wife with no job, and you were just looking for a new job, right?
I was just looking for a new job, and I had no job. No, it's like, I mean, if I could find a job by myself, I would be in consulting, mainframes, traveling, well paid. And my wife said, Fortran, no. COBOL, yeah, in those days, I mean, COBOL was still strong. But Unix had this programming language that is called LINQ. Just 3 letters, L-I-N-C, link, which was way ahead of its time. It was way ahead. And that is what I use a lot. And I develop large applications. I'm more a developer than a DBA. So I developed large applications using this language called Link on mainframes. When I say large applications, I did a payroll, I did manufacturing applications, I did court management for cases at the courts. I did a lot of large applications, using this language, and it was extremely powerful. So when my wife said, no, you have to get out of the dinosaurs, I was a little bit offended, right? Because she was telling me I was a dinosaur, right? So, well, I guess she was right. She was right. So when I applied to Oracle,
Women
at
are
first,
always right, especially the wives.
exactly, exactly. That is true. So when I applied to Oracle, I remember that interview because I ended up interviewing with my manager's manager. So it was like 2 levels up. I didn't know this guy. So he asked me, okay, tell me what you know about Oracle. And I said, well, I know absolutely nothing. I don't know Oracle. And he said, well, why are you here? If you don't know Oracle, why are you here? Well, because I can bring a lot of stuff up to the table, right? In those days, after developing large applications, I was not shy. It was like, yeah, I developed these large applications. And he was like, okay, tell me more. Well, I developed this for Ford Motor Company, and it was payroll, and it was manufacturing. I did this, I did that. I said, well, that's pretty interesting. Actually, we need people for e-business. E-business, they have this manufacturing suite. And of course, I didn't know anything about that particular product. But just developing something like that, to me, like, yeah, sure, why not? I can learn that, right? And in those days, it was like, okay, the position is support. So you don't have to travel. You can be 9 to 5 at the office, but everything is phone support. There was no email. There was no internet. Everything is through the phone. Yeah, we're talking before email. Okay.
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, why not? The only problem is it was in English, right? And second, I didn't know the application. And I had to skip the training. There was some training, but there was some conflict. I couldn't even take the training for that module. So I went on the phone to support this application without never seeing the application, right? The most I could get is the reference manuals. That is it. Just get a reference manual, read the manual from end to end, read all the manuals so you know what you're talking about, right? And then just ask questions. See, like, what do you see on your screen to the customer, right? Oh, I see, it says customer name. Okay, what is next? Oh, I see purchase order. Okay, what is your issue? I type in and it's coming back with blah, blah. It was really hard. Yeah, I have a nice story about those days. In those days, I went to the movies with my wife, and we went to see this movie, which was called Star Wars. You guys remember Star Wars, right?
Yeah, of course, right.
So it was one. I guess it was a repeat of Star Wars or something. I saw Star Wars to the movies, and I was surprised on all the different people, the different characters, and there was this character was Chewbacca. You know Chewbacca, right?
Yeah.
Chewbacca. Exactly. It's just like that. I can do it.
Was not good, I know, but many people are laughing now. I know that.
Well, let me tell you a story here. With Chewbacca, after I saw the movie, I go to the phone. I started working with this new customer, and we had some scripting, right? So we had to say, what is your name, blah, blah, blah. So we have to follow some rules, right? And I asked the guy, what is your name? And he goes, oh, my name is Chewbacca. And I go silent, right? Chewbacca. Would you mind repeating your name? I didn't get your name. And he said, yeah, my name is Chewbacca. Could you spell that for me? And he goes, blah, 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 blah. I couldn't get a letter from his name. So I documented my ticket, and it was Mr. Chewbacca. And I wrote Chewbacca very phonetic. Whatever, the way it sounded to me in Spanish, that is how I put Chewbacca, right? Very, 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 it was not even in English. It was just Chewbacca. And I go with this ticket, and I will call Chewbacca, and Chewbacca, because this ticket went on and on for a long, long time, right? So it took me like a year to close this ticket. So he will come and ask me some questions, and I will call him back. And one thing I noticed is like every once in a while, when I call him, If he was the one picking up the phone, everything was fine. I said, Mr. Chewbacca? So yeah, I am Chewbacca. And I would talk to him. I would talk to Chewbacca, right? Then after some time, I noticed if Chewbacca was not around and someone else was picking up the phone, I would say, can I talk to Chewbacca? And they will go like this. They would say, to whom? I say, yeah, Chewbacca. What? Yeah, Chewbacca. I need to talk to Chewbacca. And I would hear the guys on the phone just laughing, right? So, and they would say, Chewbacca, Oracle is calling you. And Chewbacca would come to the phone, right? And I would talk to Chewbacca. But that was something that there was always something I would say, something is not quite right, but doesn't matter. So the day I'm closing the ticket, we started getting emails. Finally, email was beginning, right? So it was at the beginning of the emails. And I got this email from him, from Chewbacca, and I am reading the email, I'm closing my ticket, and it's like, that's weird. He's using the email from someone else. Because instead of signing Chewbacca, he's signing Huge Parker. So his name was Huge Parker, but with a British accent and my Mexican accent, this poor guy, Huge Parker, for 1 year, I called him Chewbacca. So that is one of the things, I mean, yeah, that's one of the things that happens, I mean, when you move to a different country and you start trying to speak the language. I mean, it's like, okay, I think I got better at this, right? Yeah, I remember a few years ago, I was telling my wife that after living in this country for 20 years, I was finally losing my accent, right? And she would say, yeah, right, you're losing the American accent because the Mexican accent is right there, right? So I never got to lose my accent. So it doesn't matter how long you live in a different country, you keep your accent forever.
All right. Thanks for that, Carlos. We are laughing a lot here with this amazing story. And the good thing is that it's recorded. I always say that. We're going to see again and laugh again.
Yeah, that is my Chewbacca story. Yeah.
Good. Oh, that's very good. Very nice. And we have also here a comment from Alex Zabala. Yeah, and I can see here that there are some guys from the US, so I want to say cheers for all of you that are on US watching us. Okay? And Alex Zabala is saying, and when we was talking about the scripts and the performance things on Enkitech, he said, I'm still having nightmares about how many things I needed to fix after sending to Carlos a database health check for revision.
Oh yeah. I mean, in Enkitech we did a lot. I mean, one of the things that we did is we use EDB360 for health checks, which was another one. EDB360 is a tool that we have to develop from scratch because we were on the business of doing health check for databases, but we had no tools to do that. It's like, I mean, how do you do a health check of a database that covers pretty much a lot of areas, a lot of aspects of the database, and you have no tools. So when I was reading some of the health checks that we had before I joined Enkitech, it was like, well, I can see what they're trying to do here, but maybe this is not a very organized way to do this. So we started putting together some scripts, some tools, and we end up building this mega tool, which is EDB360, which I mean is open source, totally free, no strings attached. Anyone can use it. And once you get to see the output, which is overwhelming, it's just a matter of investing a few hours just to navigate through all this output. And after you do that, you get a good idea what's going on a database. So those days in Enkitech, they were really good because we were able to create a lot of things. And then more important, we were able to do this as open source. So that was my condition. It's like, yeah, I'm putting together all these tools, but they will have to be open source. And that is what we did. So even today, they're open source and they're still there. We're well maintained. I don't do the maintenance myself. And the maintenance basically, whenever someone is using the tool and say, oh, it would be nice to have blah, blah, blah. So, okay, well, make the addition, submit it for review. Some of my friends, Mauro Pagano, takes care of the review, and then he polishes the tool, and then it keeps updated, and the tool is updated. A lot of people have invested a lot of time on that tool. Yeah, so I remember, working with Alex back in the days in Enkitech. And yeah, we're going through the health check is an exercise that If you do a health check, then I review your health check and I tell you what did I see. It may be different to what you saw, right? And then we pass it to the next guy. So after after it goes to a round of people, it's amazing. It's amazing how the result of a health check basically contains your experience, my experience, Alex's experience, and everyone's experience, right? So yeah, I can see, I can totally relate to those days in which you are writing the health check, you pass it to someone else, and it's going to show you your mistakes, things that you assume which were totally wrong, right? So it was, I would say, interesting, but at the same time, the environment was pretty friendly all the time. So you make a mistake, well, you make a mistake. I mean, you learn from your mistake, right? So it was like a review process, and it was really nice.
Good. And talking about that, we have a comment here from Rodrigo Righetti, and he's saying that ADB 360 it's the bomb, and he's saying bomb. It's like very good, not that you bomb your database. Just to be clear.
Well, it's important to clarify that. Yeah, it's a nice product. I would say it's a nice tool. Nice tool. It's big, so you have never used that before, just give it a try. It doesn't install anything on your database. It produces a huge output, and once you go through the output, it's like, wow, it's overwhelming, and it's free. So we use this tool for when you're doing consulting work for any customers and you want to understand the environment. Just tell them, please run this tool, give me the output, and I tell you what I see on your system. I don't have to log into your system. I don't have to touch your system, which actually that is intentional, because it seems to be that every time I touch production, I break something. So it's better to have someone run the tool for you, get the output, and then review that.
That's amazing. And the best thing, as Rogério Iguchi said here, it's an open source. It's amazing. And congratulations. Thank you very much to do this amazing tool for us. Yeah. This
Yeah,
is
no
the
problem.
best part. Yeah. uh, and uh, and keeping going, we was talking about the EBS and about these tools, and tell us how this performance work or performance things started to happen, and you started to think and hey, I need to do some tool or I need to automate some things. How all this started?
Well, it started when I joined the e-business side of the house. In Oracle, in those days, there were like two big silos. It was e-business, and then it was the database, and they wouldn't talk to each other. It's like either you are here or you are here. There is no communication between these two teams, and that is true even today. Unfortunately, that is true even today. It's like a silos, totally silos, right? So I was on the e-business side of the house. What I noticed that every time I would have a performance issue within e-business and I would engage development on e-business, those issues, those bugs, they were going forever. No place. I mean, like, you open a bug, you provide what you think the developer needs, and then the developer goes silent for a month. And then he come back and I say, oh, give me the statistics, give me the cost-based optimizer statistics. We're already past a month, right? So whatever we collected back then is totally different to what we have today. So of course, I mean, you collect the statistics, and then he will come back and say, oh, tell me about the indexes, which indexes you have. And it was like time-wise, it was like every request, it was like months between one request to another. Pretty much that was the way I saw it. At least I saw it this way. It was like a game. I mean, development is always asking for something that you haven't provided in such a way that once you provide that, he will come with a new thing. Oh, now give me a trace. And that was kind of frustrating for me and for our customers, because, I mean, you are the face, I mean, talking to a customer, and how do you explain to your customer that have been waiting for months for an issue that maybe is a bad execution plan, right? And after months, you're still asking them to provide more data and more diagnostics. It's difficult. It's difficult to take the phone, call your customer and say, you know what? I know this is a critical issue for you. You have been working with this suboptimal execution plan for months. Don't worry. Development is working on this. Just give me this other file. So going through that thing, those days I call it the 11:30. It was like a game. It was 11:30, and it was the status of the bug. Status 11 means development is working on this. Status 30 means Support is working on this. It's actually working with the customer. So it was like a tennis game, just 11, 30, 11, 30. So I noticed this pattern. I said, you know what if I collect everything that we need one shot? So if development is asking for more stuff, it's gonna be there. So I'd rather give them more than less, right? So that is when COE explain came to life. It's like, okay, let's build this tool. There was this gap. Let's build this tool, collect everything that we know. It's like 99% of the thing development is gonna be asking are there on the tool. And then I give everything to development. If development comes back and say, no, give me this, I'm gonna say, you already have it, right? So that helped a lot to reduce the time, to close an issue. And then over time, development got used to that. Development was saying, oh, give me this, the output of this script. And they were referring to my scripts, which was nice. So development started actually using the output to actually do faster diagnostics, which was like a little bit unexpected for me, but it was nice to see the whole process would speed up just by having the right diagnostics at the right time. So that is how I started building these tools, because there was this need, right? And then at some point after I moved from support, I went to field support. Field support is like consulting, but it's more affordable for our customers, right? So I did a lot of field support, and on field support, you meet a lot of customers. And on field support, it was like when I joined field support within Oracle, there were like two options. Either you stay with a customer for months, or you go with the fly and fix. You are gonna be there for 1 week. You fly in on Monday, you leave on Friday, and you have to present results. Whatever you are asked to do, you have to actually deliver. So it was a pattern. You go there on a Monday, and then typical, you get there on site, you don't know anything about this customer. You just go on site, and they're waiting for you in a meeting room, right? Where you see the CEO, the operations manager, the developer, like 15, 20 people.
The pressure
just waiting
of everyone is on you, right?
Everyone what?
The pressure of everyone was on you, right?
Oh yeah, the beginning the beginning of the meeting is always very rough, and you are Oracle. You are Oracle, right? So so you are not Carlos. You are Oracle. So that means they are pretty aggressive. So you have to let them vent. So they start venting. Okay, you take all the blame. It's like if it was your fault, right? It doesn't matter. Just go through all your pain, right? Okay, now let's get together and let's work. Unfortunately, you only have a few days to deliver results. So that means you have to work really, really fast. In order to do that, you have to have your tools. Because in those days, it's like, okay, you get there, and then you have to convince the DBA to give you some diagnostics, right? And the DBA has many things to do. So for the DBA, you are not a priority. You are the consultant that is just making them to waste their time. That's all you are. So it's better you just give them, okay, can you please just run this script, give me the output, and I don't bother you anymore. Just give me the output of this. And then you sit down with the output, and then you do your analysis, and then you come with your results or whatever, or you run COE transfer SQL profile, whatever you have to do is like, you have to do it with a minimum interaction with the DBA. You don't want to go back and forth too many times, right? So you know how it is. They're busy. So it's like, and of course you don't get access to production. And I'm so happy. I was so happy with that. I would avoid getting access to production, because I am kind of cowboy. So it's like when I want to run something, I just go ahead and run it, right? And sometimes sometimes it's like no, you have to be more careful to what you're doing in a production environment, right? So that's why when someone says, you're a DBA, I say, well, if I were a DBA, I would be like a DBA 101. I'm a super beginner DBA, because I'm not careful enough, I would say. So now these days, I just try to stay with my test environments, and I try to do stuff on the production environment, right? So anyway, which still I do, but I'm just super careful. Well, in those days, I had to build these tools in order to collect and being able to present results Fridays. And at some point, one of my favorite customers, he asked me to give him my tools. And just like that, he said, well, can you give me all your tools? And I said, yeah, why not? So I gave him my tools, and I said goodbye, right? And then they start asking for me, can you come again this week? Can you come again? And we start building this relationship. And then he convinced me. He said, you know what, I like your tools, but I noticed you change them a lot. Yeah, they grow, they mature, they evolve. And he asked me if I would be willing to publish them, to put them on Metalink. Metalink was before my Oracle support. So I said, Metalink.
For the old guys.
Yeah. Say again?
For the old guys, it's the Metalink.
It's Metalink. Yeah, so I put that on Metalink, made that available, and then it propagated. From that moment on, these tools, they propagated a lot. And then I started seeing a lot of people downloading the tools, asking me for changes, giving me feedback. It became like a almost like a full-time job. It wasn't my job. And it was like, if I had to do that, I would have to do that on my free time, because that was not my job, right? So, I mean, from that moment on, is when I decided to publish these tools. I mean, whenever I had a new version, just upload the new version, and then the tool grows, and it became CQT. So at the beginning, it was just because one customer, he asked me, do you mind putting this on Metalink so I can get your latest version of this tool? And the key question is, can you give me your tools? And I didn't hesitate at all. I said, yeah, why not? Why not? I knew some other consultants, they were really proprietary with the tool. They would say, no, this is my tool. I cannot share it with you, right? It's like like it is part of the knowledge. And I think the other way around, tools are to be shared. If you write a tool, you have like the moral obligation to share your tools. Is the way I think. Not everyone shared it with me. Like people will say, why you are not selling CQT? Why you are not selling EDB360? Well, I never developed these tools to be sold. I developed these tools to be shared. So it's like and I encourage everyone to do the same. If you develop something that is fun, I have a friend of ours which developed a nice tool which is called Apache Log Analyzer. Short name is Appalizer, but it's Apache Log Analyzer. I always encourage my friend to share this tool, right? And some other tools. I mean, there are so many tools out there, it would be really nice if everyone would share whatever we develop.
Right. Very, very nice. And this point of view, this is a thing that we really need to say once again, congrats of that. And it's a good point to all other guys have also this in mind, that this kind of tool we should share with others and help others, as you was helped with many tools that Carlos has wrote, right? So if you write something, you can share to and do the same with others, right? And just one more thing that I need to say, because I got I'm embarrassed for a short time because I said one thing and I didn't thought that could be thinking the wrong way. I said that the Metalink is for old guys. Actually, I would say that Metalink is for experienced guy that have at least 10 years or more from Oracle. And I said, oh man, sorry, I wanted to say...
I agree with you. It's for all guys. I mean, Metalink is for the old guys. That is totally. I agree with that.
Yeah, because for professional Oracle professional from the like 6, 7, or maybe 80 years ago, they will not know what is Metalink. They will know what is my Oracle support.
My Oracle support. Yeah. Yeah, that is true. Sometimes we get used to those acronyms, and then we cannot forget that they were used many years ago, right? So Metalink was there like many years ago, right? Right. But now it's my Oracle support. Yeah. But you're right.
Right. And just to finish this, José Valdésio saved me with the correct word that I wanted to say, that Metalink, it's old school. Thank you for that. That's exactly what I wanted to say.
Oh, that's very polite. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah. And talking about acronym, can you tell us what means COE? I know that many guys that it's watching us have no idea what means COE, but you use it a lot, right? So Let's
Yeah,
now.
I use it a lot. I mean, COE. I had the opportunity when I was first. Today I'm on my second time with Oracle. I mean, I was with Oracle, then I left and went to Enkitech, and then I came back to Oracle. When I was with Oracle the first time, I mentioned the two silos, right? E-business, and we have the database, the two silos. And in those days, these two silos, both of them, they have a group called COE, which stands for Center of Expertise. So I was part of the Center of Expertise on e-business, and then years later, I was part of the Center of Expertise on the database. So I moved to the dark side. I moved from e-business to the other side, and it was like a big move because it's quite uncommon for people within that environment, at least in those days, to move from e-business to the database. And I moved from Center of Expertise on e-business to the Center of Expertise on the database. And that is the acronym. COE basically means Center of Expertise.
All right, that's good. So to be honest, when you told me about that, I was not aware of it, and now me and you guys all now know what means COE. All right, that's good. And we have here some comments, some more comments here that I wanted to pick up one. And it's from Marcelo Tomas. He is saying that, Carlos, do you have any features in the autonomous database in which you participated in the development?
Not in the development. My role at OCI is together with Rodrigo Righetti, we're taking care of the performance of it's like 11,000 databases. So the two of us, we take care of 11,000. It's over 11,000 databases and
11,000. Oh my God.
11,000 databases, and it's two people. Well, soon I'm gonna be three people, I hope. So, what we do is basically these databases are used for something that in OCI is called a control plane. Control plane is all the infrastructure that is needed for the cloud. So we don't deal with actual customer data. All our customers, I mean, Rodrigo's and my customers, they're internal Oracle development teams, which are the developers of the cloud. So we're responsible for the performance of the databases that support the cloud, the Oracle cloud. And yes, it's over 11,000 databases. So our role is not that much developing for a autonomous transaction processing. It's not like that. It's actually to allow the OCI databases to perform as best as they can. So we develop tools, and we have a lot of tools, and those tools are available. I mean, the tools that we develop, I mean, to basically make a OCI more efficient. I would say the databases of OCI more efficient. Those tools, I mean, every once in a while, I upload them to my blog. I don't do that often, but like every 2-3 months, I upload the latest version. And that is what we use today. Instead of using DB360 or SQLT or COE scripts, we use this new suite of scripts, which, I mean, they are pretty powerful. I mean, they provide a lot of insight, but they're more focused. I mean, we want to see a SQL performance, we use this. We want to see overall performance, we use this. We want to see a space utilization, we use this. And it's like all these tools are, I mean, we have been developing this for quite some time. And yeah, I mean, whatever it has my name, I just put it for free. I put the tool for free. Because these tools are like, they're not going to show you anything that is proprietary. They're basically just an easy way to collect stuff that allows you to visualize what's going on. Because the data is there. All the data, the database is very rich in terms of metadata. So the data is there. It's just, how do we make sense of the data that is out there? How do I make sense of this data in seconds, in minutes, instead of taking me hours to do some analysis, right? Imagine you have this performance issue and you have to provide a solution in minutes. No, you cannot take hours to run a DB360 and then analyze. No, you have to do it right there. So I mean, these tools that we have today are more focused to the I would say to the day-to-day database person, which is taking responsibility for a performance and scalability. That's what we do.
Oh, good. And in Rodrigo Higuete words, he's saying that Carlos developed the tools, I use them.
Well, let me tell you, I'm so happy that he is part of the team. The team is a team of two, right? There's only him and myself.
One
Because
question just before you, sorry to interrupt that, but you said that you two guys work with 11,000 databases. So how many
yes,
clones of you two guys you have?
how many what
How many
clones?
clones?
No, no. Unfortunately, I mean, there is this group of DBAs, which I mean, they usually take the hit. I mean, when their performance issue, and when they need like a deep root cause analysis, they come to us. So I would be unfair to say it would be unfair to say that we take everything, we take care of everything. No, we take care of more like escalations, issues that require some level of detail that a DBA that is doing daily operations cannot afford the time to invest. Then we go deep and we investigate and we explain what's going on. And there are many cases, many times in which I am stuck and I have to go to Rodrigo and say, Rodrigo, I need your help. I am totally stuck. What do you see here, right? And it's funny because I mean we're a team of only two people, but we collaborate and we know what we know and we know what we don't know, right? So if I know I'm struggling with something, I may ask Rodrigo, and Rodrigo may come with a solution in seconds, right? He may say, oh, blah 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 blah. Wow, it makes sense now, right? But it's like no one is like the perfect expert that knows everything. That is not true. It's just a matter of collaboration and accepting what we know and what we don't know. Well, I don't know.
You have superpowers at least. Tell the truth, please.
Well, we have a lot of responsibility. That's for sure. I mean, we have a lot of responsibilities. I mean, we do our best,
I'm too
and
sure
we're doing
about
fine. Yeah, and we're happy. I mean, we're happy, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and we do reactive, and then we also do proactive, right? Because reactive, I mean, you can only just reactive because if you only do reactive work, at some point you don't scale. At some point, I mean, the volume is so overwhelming that you don't scale. So you have to split your time and do proactive stuff, which is basically means automation and tools. You have to build tools, you have to do automation so you can do less reactive work.
Right, that's very good. Good. And we have here a question from Rogério Iguchi. He's asking, ask Carlos if he can share with us about the work he's doing in OCI. You already said some things, but if you have anything else to add, please.
Well, it's just a bunch of little tools that we have developed for visibility of what is going on. Well, actually, there is a tool that is called Zapper. I call Zapper because there is this term in English, and when you have a mosquito and you basically a way to kill the mosquito is when you have like an electric panel and the mosquito flies by and it zaps, and it's called zap, right? I was working with, before joining OCI, I was part of Enkitech. I was working with this customer, this big bank, and they were complaining about execution plans that went bad, right? So I asked them, how do you fix them? We sap them. I say, okay, how do you sap them, right? And basically they would refer that they would pin an execution plan. So when something was performing poorly, they would pin an execution plan, right? And then we develop a lot of tools to use SQL plan baselines to pin execution plans. But then you can imagine that with 11,000 databases, there is no way you can do that manually. So we had to implement a mechanism to actually monitor the performance of these databases. Find SQL that, if you find a SQL that is performing fine, don't wait until it breaks. Just review the performance metrics, review the history of the SQL. And if you determine, well, your algorithm, your code, if they determine the SQL, this plan is good enough, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it's good enough, it's stable, it has proven itself to be fine, then just go ahead and pin that plan, create a baseline. And then if over time you see this baseline, which I mean, when you create the baseline, the performance was X, and now the performance is no longer X. Now the performance is horrible compared to when the plan was created. So that means you know what was the performance back then, you know what is the performance today. And if it breaches some thresholds, then you basically said, well, I created this baseline. The baseline was good at that time, but it's not good anymore. So you disable the baseline. So and this becomes like natural selection. It's like natural selection. Just take the good plans, pin them. Take the bad plans, unpin them. Over time, your system is evolving. It's evolving. So basically, the end result is your system is more predictable in terms of performance, and you get less spikes. Yeah, sometimes every once in a while you get a corner case, but for the most part, the system evolves, the system entirely. And we don't use out-of-the-box functionality from SPM like auto evolve because it has some fundamentals, what I consider some fundamentals oversight. So there are some things that I'm missing on the conceptually in the product. So we have to develop our own tool, and it's called Zapper, and today is Zapper 19. And this tool is basically has the function to monitor, create baselines, disable baselines. We also embedded profiles and SQL patches. So the tool has some like plugins where under some conditions, it creates a profile. Mode is doing baseline, but sometimes you create a patch, sometimes you create a profile. Bottom line, it's a system that is created to bring stability to an online transaction processing application. So we have implemented this tool, and that is how we can scale. I mean, like if we didn't have this automation of how do you automate SQL tuning? Basically, how do you automate SQL tuning? Well, there are some ways to do that. I mean, it requires some investment, but the good news is that all the data is there. I mean, you look at the database has so many things to tell you. You just need to listen to your database because the metrics are there. All the metrics that you need to make a decision, when do I create a plan, when do I disable a plan, they are already there, they're already collected. You just need to be able to do like data mining on them, and then create or remove an execution plan. And you have to do this often. We do this like every 3 hours. We run this tool in every single database. And it has to be super efficient because, I mean, this evaluation takes like for one CDB that contains like 200 PDBs, it takes like 1 minute per cycle. So that means every 3 hours, it takes like 1 minute to do this analysis, take some actions, and then go silent for 3 hours. And then 3 hours later, wakes up because the environment has changed, right? You have new SQL has aged out, your data has changed. So it makes that this reevaluation every 3 hours of every single SQL on the entire fleet.
Oh,
those are the coolest stuff.
Yeah, and a big work too, right?
The what?
Yeah, in a big work too, right?
On a big, sorry,
big work, big work, big things, right?
Big things, yeah. These tools are, when you're thinking what that we have done. We have done that, and we have done a lot of automation of the space management, like a lifecycle management. Rodrigo has done a lot on that area. And there are so many things to do on big scale. It's like, I mean, when you have to take care of these many databases, when you start seeing patterns, you don't want to be fixing manually the same thing again and again. You rather automate. So that is the balance is how much time you invest on the automation part and how much time you invest actually dealing with the issues, which is another thing. I mean, you have to play both, and you have to work with the real issues, and then at the same time you have to automate it so you can reduce them. Okay.
Good. That's very nice. Very cool. And getting all of things that you have said here, we didn't talk it yet with more details about your blog, about the time you started being a speaker and do a lot of events around the world. So this time I want to ask you a little bit more about that, and tell us how you decided to write a blog. You mentioned it sometimes here, but how you decided to start it, and how was from where actually came this idea to develop tools, open source, and share with others without any costs?
Yeah, but that's a good area, good question. Let me start by saying that I am like introvert. You may not tell, but I am an introvert. I mean, today
Really?
I can't.
When?
Let me tell you. I was the guy in school. I mean, all my elementary and middle school. Uh, I would not raise my hand. I would not ask a question. I was just silent, super silent all the time. I wouldn't say absolutely nothing, nothing. It's like I wouldn't dare to raise my hand and ask a question, say, okay, can I ask a question? I would never, I was not able to do that. It was beyond what I was able to do. So when I moved to high school, it was a different school, is when I start learning. Usually when I started my high school, what I would do is like, I would wait until the end of the class and then I would approach the professor and I will ask my question, right? So I never asked my question in public, never. I was shy. I mean, I was not able to do that. It was beyond my limits. I couldn't do that. And even when I joined Oracle, I would not sign in to take a class because I knew on every class I would take, there was a time in which you have to introduce yourself. And that was the barrier. I couldn't introduce myself. I couldn't. I'd rather don't take the class than have to say, yeah, my name is Carlos Sierra, blah, blah, blah. Like nobody cares. I mean, when you are in a class and everyone is basically introducing themselves, no one cares. Everyone is thinking some of the things, right? So it's like, but I couldn't even do that. So to me, when I joined Oracle, I skipped many classes, and it was a relief when I saw that I could take some classes online. There was no need to provide introduction, right? It was like a mental barrier to me. Then one thing I noticed, I always enjoy mentoring. If I was talking to someone, one person, one-on-one, I was fine. If I was talking to a customer, one-on-one, it was fine. But if it was two people, that was plenty. That was too much. I couldn't talk to two guys at the same time. One-on-one, I would do fine. Two, it was too many. So to me, that was this binary thing. One is fine, two is impossible. And just, my background when I grew up, it was kind of, I would say a little bit dysfunctional. Today, the way I see it, it was a little bit dysfunctional. I grew up with making no friends. I had no friends at school. I couldn't have friends because I couldn't talk to them. So it's like very totally introvert. I was not able to develop a friendship when I was young, when I was a kid, right? So to me, it was like very tough. I mean, I love going to school, but I would love the academics portion. The social, it was totally an alien world for me. I couldn't do that. I couldn't. It was very tense. So going from there to be a speaker, it was like a big change. So when I started, I enjoy mentoring, and then little by little, I learned that sometimes mentoring is more efficient when you have more than one person listening, right? So I started doing mentoring for 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, little by little. And then at some point, when I was working still on e-business, I always noticed gaps. I have this thing for gaps. I noticed there was this gap, which in manufacturing, when that was my thing, manufacturing, there are so many products and all these products were disconnected. So if you would talk to someone from inventory, they had no clue what was happening in order management. You talk someone with order management, they had no clue what was happening with bill of materials. You talk someone with bill of materials, they had no clue what happened with the purchasing, and so on. No one had the big picture, no one. So I built this class, which it was like a workshop for manufacturing. We basically will take an engineer, an Oracle engineer, and it will go through the whole manufacturing process. How do you go from a sales order? How do you procure material? How do you purchase the material? How do you create a bill of material? How do you establish a manufacturing process, resource planning? How you do your order management, the whole thing. So we will do on this 1 week workshop. We will create this product. We say we're making a wagon. So we're taking a wagon, and then how do you order the wheels? How do you order this? It was the whole process. And I noticed when I was mentoring and I was teaching these classes, which at the beginning were very tiny, with small people, right? And over time, the crowd was big, and I started having 20 people suddenly. And to me, it was terrifying just the beginning of the class, just saying, let's start the class. My name is blah, blah. It was terrifying. But after that, the remaining hours of the class was fine. Well, I did that, and then I did something similar on the database side, doing classes for Oracle. I was not an instructor. I just enjoy doing knowledge sharing. So I did this material for performance tuning with Oracle, and I created out of the blue. I created this class, which was like 2 days class, and I did it like 40 times. This is the same class all over the world. I went all over the world doing this class. And one of the guys from Oracle attending this class, one of my friends, he told me at the end of the class, he's like, why don't you speak at this conference? Why don't you just submit a topic and just talk in this conference? And to me, it was like, no way I can do that. Those are the big shots. I mean, I'm no one. I have no material to speak to this guy, to talk to this guy. I said, well, you will be surprised. Just give it a shot. So he convinced me to apply to a conference in Dallas at Hudson's. And I was terrified. I didn't want to apply. Then I applied, and I was positive I would not be accepted. I was just apply because my friend insisted I would apply. I did that, and for my surprise, I was accepted. I was accepted. Then there was no easy way to me to bail out. I say, okay, how do I get out of this conference? How do I just keep going, right? So I was trying to sabotage myself. I saying, okay, I got myself into these big shoes, and I am not material for this, right? And I was so terrified, and I went over there, and I had like nightmares. I couldn't sleep, right? So I went to this session, and when I was my session, I was a speaker, right? So you are there in front of a lot of people. Everyone is staring at you, right? So it's okay. And suddenly it happened like magic. I don't know, everyone is different. To me, it was like it was an aha moment, right? In which I suddenly went from being terrified to be like euphoric, totally euphoric. I was so happy to be there, just amazing. It was like a night and day. It was like a transformation. So I was so happy, and I wouldn't care. I asked for one person I met at the conference. I asked this lady at the end of the conference, okay, give me some feedback. It's the first time I'm doing a conference. And she said, well, you were nervous at the beginning. That was clear, right? But one thing that you did, you spoke from the heart. You didn't read any script. You didn't have to follow anything. You just spoke from the heart, right? And that is your trick. And I learned that, and yeah, that's me. So from that moment on, every conference, I never practice. I never practice. It's like, I mean, you create the material, you know your material, and then just speak out and talk from the heart. And if you don't know, well, you don't know. I mean, if someone asks you a question and you have no clue, well, say, I have no clue. That is it. I just learn to say, I don't know, right? So to me, it was like a drastic change. So even today, I mean, I consider myself introvert. I avoid people. I mean, I go out, I go to this and walk on the street, and I see people, and I tend to avoid people. And it's like, no, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to say hello, right? You're supposed to greet people. So to me, I struggle. I struggle with this, just being able to socialize more. But when it comes, I mean, about helping others, writing tools, sharing what you know is different. It's totally different. But if you see me on a party, I'm usually the guy that is quiet. Yeah, so my advice here to everyone, if you have anything to share, and everybody has something to share. So you have something to share, just speak out. I mean, just say, make it public, help others. At the end of the day, that's really what it matters. It just do your part. It's like a contribution to society. It's like just go ahead and help. I mean, in any area you can help.
Sure. That's good, and great history that you shared. And Rodrigo Higuete have a tip here. He's saying that if you are in a party and maybe shy, a few tequila shots does help.
Yeah, that is why I always had my friend. My friend is always here close to me, right?
Oh,
So it's hard to see that, but I have some friends here that it's hard to
good.
see because I have it
Yeah,
looks
put it near to your
invisible.
body. Put it near to your body that
Now
you can
now
see.
you can
Yeah,
see it.
yeah, now I can see. That's
Yeah,
good. Send it to
yeah,
Brazil,
that
this. And
so that is always you always at hand, right? So in case I need like an extra help, it's always there.
great. And one more thing, we have here a comment from Eduardo Claro. This guy, you
Uh-huh.
know, right? Yeah. He's saying that just like me, I was very shy when young. People bullied me because of that. This is not so good, right? And as all of things that you mentioned, you said that if people want to share, people can speak and so on, right? And what is the advice or tip or anything that you want to share for those guys that still are shy or are maybe some don't know how to speak or to participate in some event as a speaker? What is the tips and advice that you wanted to share with them?
It's just to be brave, just to do it one time. Just be sure the topic that you're speaking about, you know the
Mm-hmm.
topic well, because if you know the material, it just having the PowerPoint is just like having some notes that they help. But if you know the material, just go ahead and go for it, and just be aware that no one is judging you. No one. They are
Mm-hmm.
interested to know your topics and some stories. They want to learn more, but they're not care. I mean, they don't care if you get nervous, you don't get nervous. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter. It really doesn't matter. If you don't speak the language and you make mistakes, like my Chewbacca story, that is normal. It's
Amazing
normal. I mean,
story. At least we have
hmm?
some good things to tell, right? About
Yeah, I mean,
Chewbacca, right? Nice story.
yeah, just seeing that you're not perfect, you're gonna make
Yeah.
mistakes, and that is totally normal, especially when you're speaking at a conference in what is not your first language. Like I mean,
Mm-hmm.
English is not my first language, so of course, I mean, sometimes you are looking for this word, and the word is not there, so you have to find a workaround on the fly, and sometimes you go
Mm-hmm.
blank, and
Mm-hmm.
that is normal. That is completely normal. What really matters is a what is the topic? I mean, the mechanism, if you make mistakes or not, it really doesn't matter. What really matters is that you're trying to communicate something that is useful to others.
Mm-hmm. Great. And just one question: when you are at the home, you speak in English or Spanish?
Well, that's a good question because I mean, at home we speak Spanish. My
Mm-hmm.
wife is from Puerto Rico, so we both
Mm-hmm.
speak Spanish. And sometimes we go into English sometimes, but it's not often. What is interesting is once you start dreaming, I
Mm-hmm.
dream a lot. I
Mm-hmm.
like dreaming, and when I dream, some of your dreams are in Spanish, some of your dreams are in English. Sometimes you do a little bit of mix and
Yeah.
match. So, but it's interesting to see how over years you
Mm-hmm.
start dreaming in this
Mm-hmm.
other language.
Yeah, I'm laughing here because I understand you. Yeah, you know, to us Brazilian guys, English
Uh-huh.
it's a big barrier. Yeah, when you starting to learn and so on. Nowadays, I still don't know very much, as you can see, but I'm keeping trying. And when I started to have my first dreams talking English, was amazing. I woke up, oh my god, I dreamed talking English. It was very nice. I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
understand.
it's nice. Yeah, yeah, that happens. I mean, when you discover
Yeah.
yourself, you're dreaming in English. That is a good feeling,
Yeah,
right?
that's true. So, guys, just to remember you, if you didn't, if you are enjoying the video, right, and this talk with Carlos Sierra, don't forget to give the like on the video, right? And if you didn't subscribe on the channel, uh, subscribe, and you're gonna see the other amazing interviews that we are doing here, okay? But do this now, don't forget, okay? So, give the like to us if you're enjoying the video. Okay, and uh, going ahead with the this conversation, after that, this ice break, I should say, and you started to speak, and then you started to participate in the community with events and share all of your tools and these performance issue things with others. How was that? And tell us a little bit how was this experience to travel around the world, and then I want to ask you how was for you when you came to Brazil.
Okay, that's good. I mean, the experience at first. I mean, when I started writing tools, I started writing tools before I started speaking, right? So I wrote tools. One thing I learned is to put my name in all the tools. Not because I am claiming ownership. It's not like that. It's because if you have an issue today, tomorrow, 3 years from today, at least you know who to contact. Right? So that is the reason I put my name on my tools from the very beginning. So all my tools, I mean, you will see my name is on them. Again, no, it's not for ownership. It's just to so you know, because sometimes you get this awesome tool and you're trying to figure out who wrote the tool. There's no name, so it's very hard. It's very hard to even say thank you or say, you know what, let me give you some feedback, right? So I put my name. So I think my name was known as a contributor before actually they knew me in person. So it was years apart. First the tools, and then I came to do conference, right? And actually I did the first one, and then I really enjoyed that. But before doing that, I mean, with Oracle, I had the opportunity in both in e-business first and then on the database side to develop some I would say some training material for the actual guys that are doing the daily jobs and actually deliver this training for them. And I would say to all these teams, because the teams, they will say, can you do this session for me, right? Remember, there was no Zoom. And you have to do a training session. You have to be physically there, right? So I said, yeah, I can go to Australia. I can go to the UK. I can go to Brazil. I can go to any place. It doesn't matter. I have this freedom to do this session on your locale, on your office. The only thing I need is a sponsorship for expenses, right? So you pay nothing for the class. I just go ahead and just pay expenses and regular expenses, nothing fancy, just a regular ticket and regular hotel. It's super cheap. Like when you divide that, I mean, by how many participants you have, like you have a free training, and the only expense is a traveling expenses for the instructor. To me, it was like win-win, because I had the opportunity to get to know a lot of places and a lot of people, right? And I would just travel for free and doing my stuff, and every session will be different, totally different. It's the same material. The material would evolve over time, but it was never the same. I would never say the same. It was always different.
And
So to me, that was fun.
Okay, good. Sorry to interrupt. I will just say that, and in that time, your boss didn't said to you that you are so great that you're not gonna let you travel.
No, that happened only when I was in Mexico. I wanted to go out. I wanted to go and live in Australia. That was my goal. I mean, to go to Australia. And yeah, my boss, I mean, I asked for my transfer, and transfer was an option. It was, people would transfer. It was open. Some of the guys I knew, they transfer, right? I say, okay, well, I want to transfer. And they would say, yeah, it's in process. Yeah, one day it's going to happen. And I just saw people coming and going, and I would just stay there. And I was kind of, I mean, disappointed, right? Because, I mean, you do your best, and then your reward is no way to get what you want. I wanted my transfer, right? So after a year, I mean, this guy, I start searching alternatives. I start looking around, and this my boss, he learned about this thing that I was browsing and asking others, and he complained to me. He said, you know what? Why are you doing this? I mean, you are supposed to go through me, right? I said, well, I've been trying to go through you for a year, and you don't let me go. I mean, I'm still here. And he said, you know what? I cannot let you go. I said, why not? Why not? Well, because you are good at what you're doing. I cannot let you. I cannot afford to lose you, right? So I said, well, you know what? That is totally unfair. I don't take that as an answer. I'm gonna go either with you or without you. I mean, my mind is set. I'm gonna move. And then when he said, well, Australia is all gone, but now I have Puerto Rico. He was pretty sure he was expecting me to say, thanks, but no thanks. And I said, yeah, I take that. I never been to Puerto Rico. I had no clue what was Puerto Rico. And I said, yeah, I take that. So I moved to Puerto Rico, just like that. Actually, when that happens, they put me a test. They say, okay, you want to go to Puerto Rico? Fine. We had like two big prospects, two customers. They wanted to do like a POC, a proof of concept. And they say, okay, we have these two big customers, multi-million-dollar projects, and we want to treat them well. So they were in Puerto Rico. So why don't you just go ahead and teach them something? Just create some class or so to entertain these guys, so we can basically do the sales here in Mexico. It was like party time. Go to Mexico, bring these guys, big shots. I mean, government, but big shots. And you are gonna do the class, but actually we're gonna spend time with them in the afternoon. And that was tough, because the class couldn't be just a freebie. You cannot just throw a freebie to government. You have to actually make them learn something, and they have to feel that they are basically doing something of use, right? So, and these guys were like the heads of the Department of Health and the core management. It was like big bosses. I mean, like a extremely well-known people in the government. So there are 5 people from this government office, 5 people from this other, 3 guys from sales, and you are the one doing the class, right? And then I developed this class for them, which was in project management. But project management with the flavor of IT. So how do you manage a big project on IT? And they were basically engaged. I mean, they wanted to get mainframes. Remember, these are the days in which mainframes, you sell the hardware, the software goes for free. Services are free. Just pay the hardware, because you're paying many millions of dollars. Then you get the people for free, and you get the software for free. It was different to what it is today, right? Yeah. So I did this class, and it was amazing. The class was really good. I mean, we broke the ice. I mean, they really opened up, and we got to learn exactly what they needed in terms of automation. So that was my treat. I mean, when I didn't get Australia, but I get this challenge. If I would pass the challenge, then I will get my transfer. So I had to earn my transfer. So the guy had decided not to let me go. He didn't want to let me go. He expected me to fail on this test. And actually, what happened with this test is when we finish the week and we say goodbye, both customers, they sign a contract with Unisys, multi-million-dollar contract. They both sign. They say, yeah, we want to do this. You earn our trust. We want to do these projects, right? But one of the guys, the courts, which he was like the Chief Justice in Puerto Rico, the guy said, yeah, I'm going to sign, but there is a caveat. Carlos, he's going to manage this project from beginning to end. So that was the condition. So to me, that was perfect. And he asked me, will you be willing to do this? I said, yes, I'm willing to do this project. I know it's a multi-million-dollar project, and I go for it, right? And remember, this guy is a judge. He's a judge, and he's on the criminal justice judge. And he's the top of the Justice Department, right? So he's the man. He's the one that basically has the last word on whatever happens in the island, right? So I said, yeah, I'm willing to take this project. And in those days, Unisys, my boss had no option but to let me go. Say, okay, they want you. I'm going to sign the papers. You will be transferred. So when I started this project in Puerto Rico, the very first day, I had this meeting with this guy, with the tough guy, right? He had this nickname of Stone Hand. So he was so hard that Stone Hand, that was his nickname. Stone, like made of stone, his hand. He was tough. I mean, he closed the door. He closed the door and said, you know what, it's you and me. You're going to be doing a good job here. If you don't, I will personally take you to jail. You're going to jail.
This is what I was going to ask. Yes, as this guy is a top of justice, or you're finished the job, you're going to go to the prison.
Exactly. Yeah. You have two options. You do a good job, or you go to be here forever and ever in jail. And for real.
Oh
And
my God.
he was not kidding. He was for real. He was for real.
Really, really
So,
serious. So
oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah, totally. Just keep in mind, these are multi-million
Oh
dollar
my God.
projects and they know nothing about IT. So they're trusting you. They're trusting your work, right? So either you are going to succeed or you want to fail. There is no option, right? So that project took 6 years of my life. So I was there for 6 years and we automated the whole island. When I say automated the whole island, and there are like 78 towns, and we put computers in all these towns, and there was no internet, so we had to put like a microwave network to communicate all these big centers. And because before that everything was paper, so can you imagine you were a criminal in this town, just go to the next town and you are brand new. No one knows anything about you, right? So once we start automating everything, we start sending people to the jail. I mean, we put a lot of people in jail after we automated, right? So it was like tough. And I was just working there, and I was given a judge office. So everyone thought I was a judge. So I went to the training. So I learned how to fire a gun. I mean, I learned. I mean, I learned a lot of things that otherwise I wouldn't have learned. I spent times at the court, so I would learn about all kind of cases. I mean, civil, criminal, family relationships. I would just sit down and learn about the case management because I needed to know how to automate. And there is no one to tell you, oh, we want to automate A, B, and C. It's you. I mean, you have to define what are the requirements, then come with a conceptual design, present the conceptual design, do some prototyping, some proof of concept, doing the development, doing the implementation. And one thing is like you do this development work, and part of the contract is like 2 years of free maintenance. So that means any bug that you have on your code, you have to fix it for free for 2 years. You know how many bugs we had? No more than 5 in 2 years. So because I mean, one thing I did, I mean, I had a small team, and we were like 12 people doing development, right? My team is like quality from day one, and it's like I would ask everyone to find bugs, and if you find a bug, you take 1 day off. If you find one bug, take the day off. So we want no bugs in this product, right? So that was amazing. And if I were to look back at all the years I've been working with computers, I would say I am more a developer. I'm not a DBA. I can try to do DBA work, but I am more a developer. I mean, especially with large applications, that is the achievement. I would say big applications, large applications, big impact. Yeah, basically bring, I mean, all the justice system from this country. I mean, from paper to automation. I mean, 6 years of my life were there, and I'm happy to see that. But yeah, at the beginning it was either you do good or you go to jail, and for real.
The best part, it's for real. You're going to, or you finish the project, or you're going to the jail for real.
Yeah. I knew back then he was serious, but we were laughing, like we're laughing today. But I knew he was serious. If I had failed, I would be in jail.
Oh my God! And live with that every day. I suppose that you was in pressure every day, every time that you were in that place, right?
Pressure, not not really, because I mean, I apply everything that we did in how do you manage a project, an IT project, that you have deadlines, you have commitments, you do a phase, then you get the sign off from the customer. This is what you want. Yes, this is what I want. Okay, just sign me. This is what you want. Now we move to the next phase. It doesn't mean we cannot change the stuff, but now just be aware we are changing the stuff. We need to extend the time, right? And not necessarily the money, because they paid a lot of money. So we did everything, I would say, pretty much on time. We finished on time and according to what they were expecting. When we had and we were audited. I remember one of the audits that we had, one of the big complaints, it was the size of the password. The password has to be more than X size. That was one of the big findings from the auditing. So besides that, it's like, I mean, we did well. I mean, it was a really nice project. It was good. It was good. No pressure. When I had pressure before, I mean, when I was working for a Ford Motor Company, there were days in which I had to actually sleep on the floor. I mean, there was no way I had time to leave the office and then come back the next day. So I rather just stay at the office and sleep on the floor. I had to do that. And those days when I was doing Ford, I was still young. I was on my 20s when I was managing this big project. I mean, again, millions of dollars of money. I mean, they were there on this project. And I would just sleep on the floor because I had no time to go home. So that was before. When I was at the Puerto Rico, no, it was stressful. I would say more than stressful. I was always busy, but stressful, no, because you only put on your plate whatever you can eat. You don't put more food, or don't put more things on your plate. I mean, if you find yourself you have to work too many hours, that is something that you are doing wrong. That is something that you need to improve. If you do it, it's because you want to do it, not because you have to do it. You see what I mean? Yeah. So I mean, working long hours is because, I mean, you are engaged and you want to do this tool or that is your hobby. I understand, but just having to work double because of lack of planning or because I don't know some change of requirements, it's better to learn to say no.
Well, was I would say so deep thinking. And this makes me stop now and thinking about many things, right? Thanks for that.
Yeah, but don't go to jail, okay?
Okay. This is important. I have kids. This can't happen to me.
I would say time is different today because you don't get that kind of situation. I mean, also in Puerto Rico, I knew about this customer, which it was not my customer, but I knew about this customer that whenever he had to negotiate with the sales guys from Unisys, he will get his gun and put the gun on the table. Just the gun was sitting there, and then we start negotiating. But there is a gun right there on the table. So that basically means we're talking serious. I mean, it's like this business. Yes, exactly. So yeah, I mean, you don't see that today. I mean, unfortunately, you guys don't see that today.
Hey, Carlos, let's talk. Something like this, yeah.
Yeah, you can imagine you go to a customer and they pull from the drawer, they get a gun, they put on the table and say, okay, now let's talk. Tell me what you have to say. Yeah, no pressure.
I can't say anything. I think I will not have neither the air to breathe. Oh my god, a gun in the table to talk with me. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's just a statement, right? Just put the gun on the table and now let's talk.
Yeah.
Right.
Remember that grant that I asked for you? So please. Give me that grant on database.
Something like that. Yeah, I know today is different, but those days, I mean, it was tough. I mean, doing business, it was tough. Remember those years is where the computers were something alien to everyone. It's like, I mean, as a business owner, you understand you need a computer, but you don't know the guy that is talking in front of you, if he's telling you the truth or he's just totally lying to you in your face, right? So those are tough times because, I mean, there is no, you cannot Google the guy. You cannot say, oh, let me see who is this guy, who is this company. You have to figure it out yourself. And sometimes you are talking millions of dollars. I mean, those are big money, right? So it's better to make a statement than go too weak on a negotiation, right? Or not being able to be clear that the issue is quite serious, right? So if you're taking millions, well, you have to behave like millions matter, right?
Yeah. So this is big things, and of course it's an unforgettable experience that you had.
Oh yeah, all these experiences are something that you learn, and it's like, I mean, you live the moment, and it's good. It's good. I mean, really nice. Any experience. I mean, whenever I see people saying, "Oh, I want to stay here doing the same forever and ever," then not really. Look for opportunities, and if there is an opportunity, just jump in. If you don't like it, well, you can change something else, right? But it's always like the life is so short that I always encourage people to try something different, something new, right?
Right, right, that's good. So before we go to the next topic, uh, I have one comment here from Rodrigo Higuete, which is very nice. When we was talking about the tools and why you put the name on the tools, right? He mentioned here that on the chat that is why the few tools that I write, I use Carlos as the author.
So they can chase
So
me, right? So they can
yeah,
find me.
yeah.
Well, he doesn't know that I go back and change the name and put his. So I put his name back, so they know they will come to him.
Yeah. All right, good. So, and going back to the travel and the speaker things, and tell us a little bit how was your experience when you came to Brazil? Is it was your first time? How was the experience?
I have been to Brazil. I don't recall it is 2 times or 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's more than 1 time. And the first time it was many years ago. And
Mm-hmm.
what I learned back then, the economy was kind of quite different. I remember the first time I went to Brazil, they took me to for coffee on every. I like coffee, so on every lunch break after lunch, we will go for some cortadito. I don't know how you call it cortadito. What is it like? Is it,
Mm.
some coffee? It's like a small
Cortadito. Ah, yeah. Here in Brazil,
espresso.
yeah, espresso. That's right. That's right. We usually
Espresso.
to have a short coffee, I would say.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
remember going to this a small place. I would say that has been the best coffee I have ever had in my life. That is from Brazil. And I remember that coffee was like 10 US, 10 cents, 10 cents US dollars. So it
Mm-hmm.
was like 10 cents, right? The second time I went to Brazil, it was like I don't know, it was like $5. So between one trip to the next trip, I mean, several years apart, the economy had changed so much,
Yeah.
which everything was so expensive. I mean, the second time, the first time everything was so cheap. The second time everything was so expensive. That I remember from Brazil. I also, I mean, of course, I enjoy walking around and just looking at people, looking at stuff, looking at things which are different. You go, for example, in Brazil, you go for lunch, and they have these like big buffets that you basically you get to select what you want. They put on a plate, and then you pay for how much it weighs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those concepts I really enjoy. I like, I mean, a good steak. The steak in Brazil is awesome. It's awesome. Restaurants. I like the people. I mean, I really like. I mean, people. It's not like here in the U.S. In the U.S., the first time I was with Oracle, which I was like 20 years, I don't know, like 17 years, I was with Oracle the first time. Pretty much, pretty much every lunch, I would have lunch on my desk by myself. So I will, instead of going for lunch, I mean, with people from the office, I would just buy lunch and I will go to my desk and have my lunch right there, sitting on my desk. And that was normal. That was normal. And I was not the only one. It was common. And in Brazil, I noticed everyone going out and having like a 2 hours lunch. And it was fun. It was fun. It was totally different. So the experience of sharing with local people, and it was amazing. It was a really good experience. I really enjoyed. I mean, I was in Sao Paulo, which, I mean, as you know, Sao Paulo is more like Mexico City. It's a big
Mm-hmm.
town.
Mm-hmm.
Not many things to see on the city. But the last time I went, they took me to the beach. I don't remember the name of the beach. So we went for a beach, and it was nice. I mean, just getting out of the town and just going to the ocean and spending some time. It was really nice. I really like Brazil. The only thing I don't like about Brazil is that it's too far away, far away. So if I want to go to
Yeah.
Brazil, I know I need to take like a super long flight, right? That is the only thing. It's like you have to think twice because it's too far away. But
Mm-hmm.
besides that, I had a good time. I felt like at home. It felt home, and
Good.
I was so comfortable.
Oh, that's very good. That's very good that you like and come more times to Brazil. Yeah.
Oh, I would love to. Brazil, I like it. I really like it. It is fun.
Mm-hmm. Good. And one question, you said that you like tequila and so on. And what about the best drink that we have here in Brazil? caipirinha. Did you taste it?
Caipirinha, caipirinha. I taste it. It's strong. It's different, and I like it. I like it. Yeah.
Good, good. That's good. So, guys, we are here in this live for more than almost 2 hours. Oh my God, the time runs so fast when we are having a very good conversation. So, if you have more questions or comments to Carlos Sierra, please, you have time, but not so much. So, go ahead and type it, okay? And talking about the next topic, actually, are you planning to come to Brazil in the next years or events?
Well, I don't have specific plans because I mean, time-wise, I'm more engaged. I mean, with OCI. But if there was a conference or something, I would definitely consider going over there. I mean, I that is one of the places where I would enjoy going and visit you guys.
All right, good. That's very nice. And uh, now, Carlos, I want to ask you what things you can share with other professional guys, the ones that is starting his career on the Oracle world, and the ones that are old school. Now I learned the word, yeah, like me. And how things actually, what things you can share, you can talk and help and advise for all of us.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys are starting with Oracle, one thing that is good at Oracle, we're really good, is that things, they don't move that fast. They move fast, but not that fast. So that means you can catch up. I mean, Oracle is quite big, but if you, let's say you are starting learning, I don't know, Golden Gate, or for give you an example, right? I don't know Golden Gate, but
I know a
just to
guy
give an
that knows
example.
some things about the Golden Gates.
I'm pretty sure you do. But you take a niche, you take a space, you say, okay, I want to be a DBA. Is you can learn, and from one release to the next, it's like, I don't know, 80-90% is the same. So it's not like a very rapidly you have to relearn everything. You're putting that knowledge on your belt, and then the next release you add some more, and the next release you add some more. So I would say Oracle, the speed in which it evolves is good because you can catch up. So, and within Oracle is also finding what is your niche. I mean, if you like database work, well, I mean, of course, I mean DBA, right? Where you like development, I mean, there are some areas which, I mean, I noticed, for example, we have a lot of Java developers out there, but we don't have that many PL/SQL developers. So PL/SQL is super powerful. I mean, all the things that we can do. And it's one of those areas in which, I mean, if you can land a good job as a PL/SQL developer, that is a nice space because you can make a difference. You can make an impact. I mean, when you move something, trying to do something in Java, and then you try to do the same thing in SQL or PL/SQL, it's amazing. I mean, how much better you can go. I mean, doing stuff directly with the database. And that is on the technical side. I would say just find your niche, specialize in your niche, read a lot. You have to read a lot on that niche. Experiment. You do never in production, but experiment. You do your testing and hands-on is very valuable because I mean one thing is that what you learn on a book, and totally different thing is what happens in reality. So you have to find a way to do hands-on. And today is kind of easy. I mean, you're using a VirtualBox or any other tool which basically allows you to create a database and do your testing. You play with the technology. That is on that space. The other is just collaborate, participate, work in forums, do some blogging, establish relationships, reach out to people. Personally, I really like helping others. My only I would say constraint or thing is like do your homework. I mean, if you come to me with a question, I need to see that you are doing your homework. Don't expect me to do your work. Right? If it is a question of how do you or some advice, that is totally fine. But it's like, can you do this for me? The answer is no, and simply because I mean we don't have the bandwidth to do everything for everyone, right? but questions are more than welcome. And don't be shy, reach out. I mean, you have a SQL tuning issue, and that is my thing. Well, collect some SQL DB360, collect some diagnostics, and then show me what you have and show me what you think. And then I will tell you, yeah, you're on the right path, or you're no, you have to take this other view, right? So reaching out to people is something that we need to learn. I mean, how to do that. Because I know, for example, today, if I have a Golden Gate question, well, I know I can reach out. I can say, okay, can you guys help me with this question, right? And the same is the other way around. You have some SQL tuning question. Don't be shy. Just reach out. If I don't have the time, I will tell you right now. It's not a good time, right? But if I have the time, I will go deep. I will go deep with you. So that is at the end of the day. I mean, we all are humans, and there are no superhumans on IT. Everyone is human. Just consider that, and consider the human aspect, and just reach out. Don't be shy. That is what I would say.
That's amazing. Very good tips and advice. Thank you very much for that. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And we have here a question from Leonardo Ciccone. He's asking, what's Carlos' opinion about the changes happening in the DBA hole?
The shit that happened on DBA world. Okay, every so often we get to see big announcements like, oh, now we have this autonomous. So, I mean, today the word is autonomous, right? Autonomous. So that means everything is going to run automatically. We don't need DBAs. It happens every so often. It's not the first time. It won't be the last time. Mm-hmm. I mean, DBAs are here to stay. They're here to stay. I mean, putting everything, putting your business on an autonomous architecture is too risky. I mean, you're putting your development environment and you lose development, let be it. You lose development, you have a backup, you lose a couple of days of work, nothing happens, right? But you cannot lose production database just because you wanted to do everything autonomous, right? Mm-hmm. So there are sometimes in our history that you hear, oh, the DBA work is changing, blah, blah, blah. To me, like, yeah, exactly. Some of those things, they do happen. Like, for example, when my wife was telling me mainframes are the dinosaurs, they will disappear. Yeah, but it took like 25 years for that to happen, right? So some of my very old colleagues, they remain doing mainframes for many, many more years, right? So when you hear, oh, databases are changing so fast, yeah, they're changing, but it's not like that fast. New databases come and go, and Oracle is still there, right? Mm-hmm. So Oracle is there to stay. So I would say companies like Oracle, they're well established and they're pretty solid. So it's not that they will come the next, the next Google and it's going to replace Oracle. It doesn't work like that. I mean, everyone has its own niche. So in what is core business for Oracle, I can see Oracle staying for a long, long time. Mm-hmm. So you're working as a DBA, well, don't feel like your job is going to go away with the autonomous transaction processing or autonomous data warehouse. It doesn't work like that. Mm-hmm. It's more like sales thing, right? So it's like, okay, I want you to use an Exadata, but let me just call it ADP. And now I tell you that with the push of a button, you don't have to do anything else. Yeah, I would say it's more like wishful thinking. It's not how reality works.
Good. Yeah, I agree. That's good. And one more question from Erica Nagamini. She's saying, what Carlos recommends to be a good professional like him? Should we need to learn more than technical things?
Well, if I were to give advice to myself when I was younger, I would say just do whatever you like. In my case, it just happened to be performance because it was the thing that everyone was avoiding. No one wanted to do performance. So I say, okay, no one want to do this. Let me do it. I mean, better be wrong that no one. Better do something bad, and not like no one is doing this. So someone has to do this, right? So in my case, I decided to go with things that I love. When people ask me, why do you spend so many hours working? to me, the answer is because to me, it's very hard to distinguish what is work and what is a hobby. I like what I do so much that on a Saturday, on a Sunday, you will see me in my computer. Not because I have the pressure to do stuff, it's because I want to do stuff. It's like imagine that you're enjoying putting together some Lego, right? And your job is working at Lego, and you are supposed to be doing your working hour. You're supposed to be building some toys with Lego, and that is your job. And then during the weekend, you like it so much that you end up doing the same because you like it. So when you're looking for something like what should I do, just look for what you like, because at the end of the day, if you enjoy doing what is your job, at the end of the day you are going to excel. At the end of the day, you are going to do the extra tools, the extra thing. You're going to join that, and that's going to help you a lot. So it's more like thinking strategic. I mean, should I be doing a development, or should I be doing a social media, or should I be doing whatever, right? No, it's the other way around. It's like, what is it you like? What is it you really like? And just focus on that. And if it is, I don't know, if it is gaming and you like to work as a game developer, so be it. Just become a game developer. And if you like the database so much that you want to be a DBA, fine, be it, right? But there is no specific thing that I would say, oh, go for this because that is the future. If I were to think strategic, what is the future? I would say everything that has to do with security. Everything that is security, compliance, and password protection, and all that area that is security related. I would say that is where the money is. It doesn't mean necessarily that is what I like, but if I were to be thinking money, I would put the money on everything security related. That is what I would do.
All right, good. And to compile everything, I have a good phrase here, and it's do what you love, and you want to work a day in your life. Life, it's good. This is a comment from Philippe Sibinel.
Yeah, I always use that. I don't know if I show you my T-shirt. It's like I don't know. You can see my T-shirt. It's hard to say.
Yeah, now I can see. Keep it simple. Good.
Yeah, just keep it simple, and life is good. Life is good. Just keep it simple. Keep your life simple in every aspect.
I suppose that glass in your T-shirt, it's a beer, right?
It is, and with a taco. So a beer and a taco. Just keep it simple. That's all you need, right? So
right. That's true. That's true. Very nice. And one more question here. What Carlos is willing to accomplish next? Share some future plans. Good.
Well, as you get older, now I have to say, how do you call older? Old school. As you get old school, your priorities shift. I mean, remember when I was younger, my priorities were like, okay, I want to get a bike, I want to do more traveling, I want to do this, I want to do that. And now, as you get older, your priorities are more like family oriented. Like, I mean, how do I spend more time with my children, and how do I spend more time? Our oldest daughter, she had a baby. How do we spend time with the baby, right? And then in terms of traveling, it's like, I mean, the kind of traveling changes. Now you're looking more for experiences. I mean, if I were to travel, which let's say this year we're planning to go to Spain and Portugal, what is that we're trying to experience? What is that we want to learn, right? So in terms of challenges, in terms of things, it's like work is work. That at the end of the day, I mean, you enjoy what you do, and you have fun doing this. But at the end of the day, work is work. Just make it fun. So every day is fun. But you need to be thinking, what is that you want to experience? As time passes by, it's not the belongings. You don't care about objects anymore. You care more about experiences. You mentioned, for example, Brazil. And I said, yeah, that would be really nice. It's experience. It's just being able to go back to Brazil and experience Brazil maybe not that much about teaching a class or doing stuff, but you really enjoying spending some time, maybe going out to the country and not that much in a city, but just going to the country and getting to share more with the local people and maybe spend 1 week on a small town just to relax and enjoy life. That is what I see in the future for me, like just relaxing. And I always make a joke of this part of the day. As long as I can do technical work, I will continue doing technical work. I mean, I always say that. And once I notice, I mean, once I become older and I notice, I mean, I don't have the brain power to do technical work, then I will start looking to become a manager or a sales guy, right? So, but for the time being, as long as I can do technical work, I encourage people to keep yourself young just by keeping yourself technical. When I did my master's in computer science here in the US, and one of my professors, he was teaching algorithms, and well, there was this guy, and another one was teaching quantum computing. Those were my favorite topics, right? I always went for these classes, which were kind of extreme. So the guy from algorithms, that guy was he was like 80 years old, right? He was more senior, I would say, right? More old fashioned, more old. How you say that? Old school, more old school. He was more old school. Well, this guy was super sharp, and I said, you know what? I wanna be like him, and when I am 80, I wanna be that sharp. So to me, I mean, the best thing I can see in the near future, is just to continue troubleshooting, continue working technical. That way you keep your brain kind of, I would say, less old, and you keep your brain younger. I mean, you keep doing technical. And then when you can do more technical, then you know what? Management is fine. Or management is whatever, right? I always teach my manager with that, because I mean, with manager you don't need a lot of brain. You need to be able to do some basic stuff, right? So
Yeah, but maybe sometimes it's difficult to handle people, right? Sure. Huh?
yeah, well, I guess it all depends. I mean, I have been lucky because of most of the managers I have had. I mean, they're so hands off, which is good, because they let you work, they let you do your stuff. And if I were a manager, I would be like that, super hands off. Just let the guys do the job, and just get good resources, senior people, and just let them be. I mean, just let them be. You're there just to facilitate, right? You're not there to tell them what to do. You're just there to help them to basically accomplish what they know they need to accomplish, right? So anyway, that's what I see in the future, is just a more technical work as long as I can, and then doing some management work, something like that, with more experience, more than looking for challenges. It's like more like what are the experiences I want to get to learn what that is totally not computer related. For example, I don't know, I enjoy coffee. Yeah, I would like to visit some places where the coffee is awesome, right? Just to enjoy the coffee, right? Nothing else, just to enjoy the coffee. Small things, just keep it simple.
Yeah, here in Brazil we have some historical places about the coffee history in Latin America. You can come to here and learn about this when you don't wanna talk or discuss anything about Oracle and technical things, right?
Perfect. I like that. I like that. Those
Yeah.
are the things that to me they have a lot of value. I mean, when you go and you actually get to experience something that you like, and you get to experience that according to the local people. It's like, for example, you go to Mexico and I take you to some good taquerias. You will say, well, this taco is amazing. It's amazing. But you don't see that on a tourist place. You have to go to the street. You have to go to the market, right? So and I know every country has like that. I mean, you wanna know the place, go with a local guy, and just be open. Be open to go to any place that you wouldn't even imagine that you will go on your own, right? So
Good. And I can give you a tip. There is a guy here that is watching the Golden Talks, and he maybe can show you many things about the coffee. Yes, because he is from the city that we have historical things about coffee. If I'm not wrong, Eduardo Claro is from Santos. Santos, there is a part on this city that they have some buildings that it's related to the coffee history. So
Oh,
talk with
that
him
is so
later.
nice.
Yeah.
I will. Perfect, perfect. Thank you.
Good. And Carlos, just the last question that I want to ask for you is what is success for Carlos Sierra?
What is success? Uh, I think that we go back to the sentence. Success is just being feeling comfortable doing what you like. I mean, to me that is success. And another way to also measure success is when you can reduce the things you're worried about. I mean, because if you are worrying too much for stuff, it's like, I mean, you don't feel successful. To me, success is just feeling comfortable and enjoying the little stuff. I mean, when you get to enjoy the little things and enjoy your experiences, it's like, I mean, you feel successful, but it's not, so success has nothing to do with money, nothing. Success is how you feel about yourself and how accomplished you feel with simple stuff. If you feel accomplished, I think you have been successful. It's just the feeling of being accomplished, and also the feeling that you have made some contribution. I mean, you have made some contributions to others in whatever aspect. It doesn't matter what it is. To me, that gives you this feeling of being successful.
Whoa, that's amazing. That's a very good, how can I say, description about success. That's good. It's nothing related about money. Amazing.
Yeah, has nothing to do with money. Has nothing to do with money.
Right. And so, Carlos, I want to thank you very much to have you here and to have the opportunity to have this discussion, this talking with you, this golden talk. Thank you very much once again to accept the invite and to share all of this, all of your journey, all of your career, and many special moments that we had here today. I'm
Well,
very
thank you,
happy.
Gilson, for having me. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, and also I wanted to thank all the people that watched us and did many comments and questions. Thank you very much for all of you. We had here 2 hours and 10 minutes in this live, which is very nice, and I really enjoyed all the moment. And once again, this Golden Talk is very special to me because I one of guy that it's very fun of you that used many times your scripts and having you here talking with me, it's an amazing moment for me too. So thank you for giving me this moment and to share your time with all of us here at Golden Talks. Okay.
You're welcome, and thank you, everyone, for listening.
Okay. If you wanna say anything else, otherwise we're gonna end the Golden Talks.
I will just say thank you, and it's amazing that you guys are doing this. I really enjoy being able to speak to you guys.
All right, that's good. So I'm gonna end as I always finish the Golden Talks now in English. Let's see if I'm not gonna do anything wrong, cause I sometimes do. So if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give your like and subscribe in our channel. And the most important thing is, oh my god, I forgot in English. The most important is I'm not gonna be able to do this in English, guys. Please help me. uh, okay, I'm just finished because I will not be able to do this in English right now. So thank you very much for all of you that watched us, and that's it. And see you on the next Golden Talks. Okay, guys, bye bye.
Bye.